Hello, my name is Evan Weinmeister, and let's take a look at Yosemite National Park. Alright, location is Yosemite National Park it's in the Sierra Nevada mountains. It's about 150 miles east of San Francisco, so it is in Northern California, closer to our capital. So when you visit Yosemite National Park, over 3.5 million people actually visit the park a year, and it's a $20 car fee to enter and park there, but it's good for 7 days, which I didn't know before we went, and it's a pretty good deal. So the geological formation, Yosemite Valley was formed when the Sierra Nevada mountains were thrust from the ocean's floor. This happened about 500 million years ago. The Merced River, it has cut canyons and is followed west through the Yosemite region, and glaciers cut even deeper and also widen the canyons. So it's been formed over many years by flowing water and glaciers moving down through this canyon it's actually creating. When the glaciers thawed, parts of the canyon broke off, leaving sheared cliffs, like this picture you see here. The creeks and rivers flow over these shears, making beautiful waterfalls like Yosemite Falls. Now, sediment from these rivers and creeks, they will eventually fill the lake, filled in Yosemite Lake, and that produced the Yosemite Valley. The Merced River begins in Yosemite National Park and flows west across central California. The Tulamine River actually begins north of Merced River and flows west across Yosemite as well, and that one goes all the way to San Joaquin Valley. So here's the Merced River, and there's the Tulamine River. Both are really nice places to visit. Let's talk about human inhabitants. So, the first inhabitants were I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, so I apologize, but the first inhabitants were the Awanichi Indians, and then in 1851, the gold miners took it over and kind of pushed them out. So the types of environments that you will see in Yosemite, the park actually has an elevation range all the way from 2,000 feet all the way up to like 13,000 feet, and it contains the 5 major regions of vegetation. So there's the chaparral oak woodland, the lower montane, the upper montane, the subalpine, and then the regular alpine. Those are the 5 major vegetation zones. And as you can see the map, I have them marked out as well. So unique soil types yield rare plant species. So there's 3-bract onion is a kind of species. These are all just different kinds of different plants that you will see in Yosemite. So in the beginning, in the beginning of the Yosemite National Park, it was in 1864. Lincoln actually signed the Yosemite grant to set aside Yosemite Valley as California. It was going to be property of the state, and so it was supposed to be California supervised and a reserve, so no one could damage it more than they were already going to and already had. In 1890, John Muir and Robert Underwood Johnson, who was the editor of the Century magazine, persuaded Congress into preserving the islands of Yosemite as a national park. They wanted to protect the highlands from grazing and timber harvestation. There's actually a picture of John Muir. John Muir and Teddy Roosevelt in 1903 at Glacier Point in Yosemite National Park. That's actually the picture that's shown. This one, it was a popular picture that kept popping up when I was researching it. Both men were instrumental in the establishment of the national park system to which Yosemite belongs. So as you know, we have pictures on the back of our coins on some of our quarters, and so John Muir was actually selected to represent California on the state quarter as part of representing Yosemite Valley. Yosemite National Park, the size of it occupies roughly 761,260 acres. That's pretty big. Fire management in Yosemite is a huge problem. Um, uh, they were suppressed for many years. A quote let burn policy um, let it they a let burn policy and prescribed burning are used these days. So forest fires help clear dead vegetation, expose mineral soil, open up canopy for sunlight to reach ground, recycle nutrients, and help control disease. And evidence of a fire started by lightning in 1990 is still visible, and that's actually the picture that we see here was a fire started by lightning. Animal management. Now, there are over 300 species actually of vertebrates of animals inside Yosemite National Parks. 85 are actually native. Black bears have required the most management. Incidents involving bears and humans have increased 90% in recent years. Most of the rangers and most of the research that I've done is saying that it's humans are to blame, which I don't doubt. Other animals that we see, 9 of 17 species of bats are native to Yosemite and are on the federal or California species of concern list, which is not great. And the gray owl lives in an isolated population in Yosemite. This is the nearest population, the next nearest population is literally hundreds of miles away. So it's kind of cool that we have this protected gray owl in Yosemite. Here's just some other rare animals that you'll see, different birds. There's a wolverine and the Sierra Nevada red fox. Almost done here. The features of Yosemite. Here's Yosemite Falls that I talked about earlier, where the river actually is falling over a shear, which is a shear has been carved out by those glaciers that have been moving. And so this is Yosemite Falls, and it's really, really pretty. Yosemite Valley is the destination for most visitors, and that's where you get all your backgrounds and screens and awesome pictures. The Half Dome is probably one of my favorites just because it looks really, really cool. And then the giant redwood, which that's an old picture of the tree that still is standing today. Yeah, here's more of the falls that have been created by those glaciers moving through the valley, and it gets wet, obviously, if you go hiking, or just be prepared to bring a towel or an extra change of clothes. And that is my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening to me.